Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com. 3 Spanish sparkling wines in front of me. Are they all Cava? Well, only one of them's labelled Cava. I think Cava, most of it comes from the Penedès region up in the top right-hand corner, Catalonia. But I've got 2. I know you can produce Cava in other parts of Spain. It's like 95% of it comes from Catalonia. But I think I've got a couple here. Anyway, maybe I'll talk about those when we get to them. But what do they have in common? Red grapes, or black grapes, or whatever you want to call them. First one is Codogny's Reina Maria Cristina, but the Blanc de Noir. I think there's a regular Maria Cristina, but this is the Blanc de Noir, made from, I think it's like mostly Pinot Noir, and it's got a little bit of Chardonnay in there too. So Blanc de Noir mostly, Blanc de Noir and a little bit of Blanc in there. But, as you'll see, a white wine, a white Cava. It says Reserva on there. I think that means it's got a little bit of extra aging above normal Cava. Not sure how long this will have had on its lees in the bottle, but let's give it a whirl. Well, it smells like it's going to be juicy, fresh, fruity. I've just done another video featuring some other Cavas from Codogny, and there was one that was called, oh god, I can't remember what it was called. Selección Raventos, something like that. It came in a very similar looking bottle, and my comment on that was it could almost have benefited from some juicier, some of the champagne grapes in there. The extra age had dumbed down the grapes that were in there, and maybe it was trying to be a bit more serious and could do with a few more, bit more fruit, richness and life. This feels like it's got it. Feels a simpler wine, but feels like it's going to be a little bit more user-friendly. Let's try. And that's just what it is. Yeah, it doesn't have that maybe the toffee profundity of the Raventos Selección, but it's just got this lovely juicy pineapple, raspberry, maybe a little bit of citrus in there, but it's not that lemon edge, that sort of dry, earthy lemon of Cava. Maybe it's not extremely fine and elegant, but it's a darn good drink, and I think this is about 15 quid. And honestly, I mean, if you want to drink European wine made from Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and you want to get champagne quality at half the price, pretty good place to dig in. Although it doesn't taste like champagne. Champagne is on that sort of drier, it's funny, less fruit flavours, less obvious bouncy fruit flavours, but maybe a touch more sweetness than here. Certainly a very user-friendly wine. Let's see whether these two are user-friendly. We've got Rosita and La Pamalita, and both made by the same winemaker, it's a lady, and she comes from Scotland. So it's not your typical Spanish winemaker. Pamela Geddes, I think she trained in Australia. I can't remember whether it was Brown Brothers or Penfolds. She was working for one of those, and developed, among other things, a taste for sparkling Shiraz when she was out there. Now in Spain, Pamelita's been around for quite a long time, and interesting. I always thought it was made from Monastrell, and certainly the website, which I had a look at 5 minutes before starting this video, said, oh yeah, Monastrell being the main grape in both of them, from the Yecla and Murcia regions. But I picked this one up, and it says, ripe, red and exuberant Shiraz at its most expressive. And then it says the latest release, so it may be that the latest release is Shiraz. And anyway, it could be Monastrell. They could just have got it wrong on the back label. Hey, let's just give them a whirl. So there's the rosé version, La Rosita, and La Pamalita next. So it's a rather, just as it comes out, there are some rosé wines that they look, it's like someone's sort of a white wine that's blushed. Here it's like a red wine that's maybe been bleached, some of the colour bleached out. Does that sound horrible? Colour bleached out. What I mean by that is it's apprentice red wine. I split rosés into, do I want to be a red wine or do I want to be a white wine? This seems to be something that has ambitions of being a red wine. Let's smell it and see whether it seems so. Juicy, rounded, strawberry friendliness. Doesn't smell like it's going to be immensely classy, but it's going to have a lot of flavour and a lot of punch and a lot of it factor. And I don't know if you've tried Australian sparkling Shiraz. One of the strange things is red wines with tannin. Sparkling wines with tannin. And here I get that bit of the structure coming through. There's a bit of that skinniness. And it's the damson skins, the plum skins, that type of character. And yeah, shut your eyes and you think it's a light red wine with a few bubbles. It doesn't feel like it's too sweet or anything. There's a juicy richness about it. That's the sort of, people say, what do you want for a barbecue? That's the sort of wine that you want now. I don't know if a barbecue in November, well, it's in November in the Northern Hemisphere, is on the cards for many people. Maybe if you're in a warmer climate than the north of England, although it's a beautiful day here, you would happily set into that. But yes, rustic, gutsy, sausage-friendly wine. I like it. And, interesting, on the back of this one it says Grenache. So I thought they were going to be Monastrell, but this one says Grenache, this one says Shiraz. I mean, I think of the two grapes, Grenache and Monastrell, also known as Mourvèdre. Grenache is the rounded, bear hug, friendly one. A Monastrell or Mourvèdre can be a little bit on the difficult side. Although down in sort of central southern Spain, it's not as difficult as it is in bits of southern France. So it may be that these are the new cuvées with new grape varieties and yeah, sparkling Grenache. Pretty decent. Let's try the sparkling Shiraz. Is it Shiraz? Is it Monastrell? But certainly you look at that and it is in the mould of, colour-wise, of the classy Australian Shirazes. What I find about Australian Shirazes, you get them when they're young and they're almost too much of a good thing. It's only really with the considerable bottle age and time on lees, both before disgorging, so in other words before putting the final cork in, and then afterwards, that they stop being yeah, you know those dogs that are, you get the Jack Russells that sort of like get your leg here, but you also get those big dogs that sort of put their paws on your shoulders and think that you're a female of the species. This, for me, sparkling Shiraz falls into that category. It can almost be too big for its own good, but then you try them when they're old. I mean, two of the most remarkable Australian wines I remember having were from Seppelts, and this would have been 20, maybe even 20 years ago. And there was a 1963 sparkling Shiraz, which was just about ready, and there was a 1946, which was just lovely, gentle, mellow. It had gone leathery, it had aged as well as a Shiraz, but it still had bubbles, it still had life and vibrancy. They put quite a bit of sugar in there to balance the tannin, which they have when they're young. Actually, they do. One of the things they use when they're putting the what they call it to liqueur these sparkling Shirazes, they buy up old what they call footballer ports. Every year, if you're an Aussie Rules football fan, your team will, certainly they used to, release a memorial, the Collingwood team of 1987, and there'll be a little flagon of Australian port. And of course, if you bought it that year, great, it had your picture of your team. 6 months later, some of the players have left. 6 years later, no one wants to buy it. So you'd get these sparkling Shiraz producers who'd buy up these flagons of port and use them for the dosage when they came to put the final corks in on the sparkling Shirazes. That's rather a long build-up, especially about Australia, especially when this is a Spanish wine. I'll sniff it. Now this is intriguing because I was expecting that bold licorice flavours that you get in the Australian Shiraz. What I'm getting here is there's a very Spanish feel about it, and I don't know whether it's a type of wood that they've aged something in here or whether it is quite an old wine, but there is this old leathery complexity already. So I don't know the age of the base wine here, but it feels like there's a roundness and softness already there before they bubblyfied it, for want of a better term. Well, it's just an astonishing wine. It's rich, leathery, licoricey. It's got this bold red fruit, and that's where I feel the Australian red, dark, hearty blackberry, blackcurrant, maybe a bit of plum in there too. Tannin, but it feels on the drier side compared with some of the Australian versions. It feels like if they have put a dosage in here, it's quite low. Sometimes the Australians will put maybe a touch too much sugar in there to make it user friendly at an earlier stage. Here it feels like they've held back on that sugar. and made a wine that, I mean, forget, this is, if your impression of champagne is or Cava is a light, easy, before meal aperitif, this is more get it out with your roast turkey. That's when a lot of Australians drink their sparkling Shirazes for the Christmas dinner on hottest day of the year, really, but it will not appeal to everybody. I like it for its richness, I like it for its intensity and sheer otherworldliness. There aren't many wines around like this. Do I want to drink a lot of it? At this stage, no, but I'd almost be tempted to grab a few bottles, stick them away for 10 years, because it's got that concentration, it's got the acidity in there, it's got the freshness, and it's got the bubbles will keep it fresh too, and I'd be very interested to see how it turns out. So having started thinking that these two might be both Monastrell, I'm now left with a Grenache and a Shiraz, both of which are really, really interesting. Go out and grab some. Taste them, grab them, drink them with a few friends, because I've got a feeling that if you served it a year, they have 6 of you around the table, plonk that in people's glasses, half the people will love it, half the people will be going, what's that? And but you will all have gained from the experience. Hopefully you've gained from the experience of this video. I will see you soon.